Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. Court issues an order of interlocutory injunction restraining the 27 members led by Amaewhule of the Rivers State House of Assembly from parading themselves as lawmakers. House of Representatives disagree over the use of mercenaries to tackle insecurity in the country following the menace of insecurity, especially in the north. And Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokpobri says the removal of fuel subsidy and implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act has boosted investor confidence. Thanks again for joining us on the program. We kick off the tracking of the polity from the politics of Rivers State, where Justice Charles Nwale of the Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt has issued an order of interlocutory injunction restraining 27 members led by Amaewhule of the Rivers State House of Assembly from parading themselves as lawmakers. The suit filed by Mr. Victor Okojumbo and the other two members loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara had Amaewhule and 24 members of the House of Assembly who defected to the APC listed as defendants. Also listed were Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the Attorney General of the state, and the Chief Judge of the state. Granting the interlocutory injunction, Justice Wale ordered that the 1 to 25th defendants should stop parading themselves as lawmakers of the Assembly as their seats have been declared vacant pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. The judge also restrains the defendants, the governor, the Attorney General of the state, and the Chief Judge from dealing with, interfacing, accepting any resolutions, bails, and/or, however, interacting with the lawmakers. The case was subsequently adjourned to July the 1st, 2024 for mention. Meanwhile, in the build-up to the 2024 September 21st election in Edo State, the state chairman, or rather the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has visited the state to assess the level of preparations. His visit is to have an on-the-spot assessment of the continuous voter registration exercise and the flood that ravaged the Commission's headquarters in the state. Professor Yakubu Mahmood is being led by INEC officials around the main building to see the state of the facilities. In the meantime, the House of Representatives was divided over the use of mercenaries to combat terrorism and kidnapping in the country. Some of the lawmakers fear that it will breed more insecurity, while others believe it will help complement the actions and efforts of security agencies. The House also passed a resolution to investigate the mass retrenchment in the central bank.
The areas most prone to insecurity today in Nigeria, and you compare them with the statistics on the degree or percentage of poverty established by world bodies, you will discover that the places most affected by insecurity today in Nigeria are the poorest part of Nigeria. They are the least educated part of Nigeria. Fact.
I fully support all the contributions and ask that we take a day for us to discuss this issue of insecurity on the floor of this House and perhaps declare or urge the executive arm to declare an emergency on insecurity.
I would suggest, just like the minority leader pointed out, we choose a date to handle only the issue of insecurity.
I urge us to at least look at the alternative of bringing in mercenaries to assist our existing military and other agents of coercion on ground to end insecurity in the country.
We agreed that what we are fighting is asymmetric war. It is not a normal war that you can invite mercenaries that you are comparing to Ukraine and the other country. These are war that is not known to the system. So please, inviting mercenaries will create more insecurity for us in the future.
Let's also tell you that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tauri Lagbaja, has commended the military for the successes recorded in securing the nation since President Bola Tinubu was inaugurated a year ago. Speaking on our special program to appraise President Tinubu's efforts in office in the last 1 year, General Lagbaja also says the army has begun local production of weapons and ammunition and is calling on the government to make their jobs easier.
Looking back at where we were 1 year ago and the threats that confront us as a nation, I will say that the troops in the field and even the staff at the headquarters deserve the highest commendation for working in a very difficult environment and delivering results despite the challenges. Local manufacturing of military hardware is ongoing, not only within the military, but by other businesses. Proforce is doing its own, Imperium in Kaduna is doing, the machine tool in Osogbo is doing a lot. In those days, our personal protective equipment, we used to import almost everything from abroad. And that is a drain on the foreign exchange of the country. But today, we get everything from these industries that I've mentioned, Proforce, Imperium, Indian machine tools. And even within the military, our electrical and mechanical corps has been able to sit down and see how they can do reverse engineering and address some challenges that confront us. The government must be able to bring about developmental activity like building roads to help in military operations and to assuage the whatever are the grievances of the people.
All right, so let's move on now. But concerning security now, following the sit-at-home order given by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra to mark the Biafra Remembrance Day celebration, security operatives in Imo State have asked residents to ignore the order and go about their lawful businesses. Addressing journalists during the confidence-building parade in Owerri, the Imo State capital, the Commissioner of Police says security operatives are ready to arrest anyone or group attempting to cause trouble in the state under the guise of sit-at-home.
This show of force comprises of the Army, Police, Navy, Air Force, Civil Defense, road safety, aimed at curtailing the excesses of men of prescribed IPOB. They gave warning that there will be 3 days sit-at-home. And since yesterday we have started, we are going around the town to build the confidence of members of the public that they should go about with their normal businesses. We are out to deal with any member of the proscribed IPOB or ESN who would like to foment trouble. We are there for the members of the public, and we are telling the members of the public they should not fear. We are there to protect them.
Imo States will be our first port of call. You heard from the Commissioner of Police saying they are ready to deter anyone or stop anyone who wants to cause the trouble for them in the state as far as the sit-at-home order is concerned. Now, we're being joined in the program by former Chief Technical Advisor to the Imo State Governor, Mr. Jerry Chukwueke. Thank you for coming on the program. Good to see you again.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Maybe you have to update us on what that is really all about, besides what the Commissioner of Police has said.
Well, you know what today's date represents for a lot of people, the celebration of the Biafran Day. But that's not the focus for the people of Imo. The real focus now, after the resounding victory of Governor Hope Uzodinma at the tribunal a few days ago, the focus is on the transformation agenda for the people of Imo State. That's what he's focused on. And that's what we're talking about in Imo today. For example, the focus on energy and power supply. He's engaging now in both the MOU with the Chinese investment company with regards to revamping and completing the Ebema power plant of 350 megawatts of power. That's a major focus. He is also engaging with investors in Imo State, like the Walter Smith, who are investing 200 million in a new oil and gas platform and focusing on industrial parks. Our governor, from the work he did a few years ago, obtained the permit of the federal government for the Egbema Ohaji Egbema Uguta Ngopala Industrial Park, the new oil and gas free trade zone in Imo. The focus is energy. You need power supply to revamp the industrial base of Imo State and create jobs and more jobs. That's a major focus. He's also focusing on the other opportunities with regards to the Ugata Seaport that we've been talking about. As you know, the Orashi hydrogeographical studies has been now completed, and the next stage is the actual dredging. So there's a lot going on in Imo State. That's the focus, and that's what Imo people are talking about.
Apparently, it looks like there's a lot of moving parts. The luxury of time is what we don't have, so I want to make most of the time we have, of it.
Yes.
So I want to take you on some national issues that has to do not just about Imo. The federal government has sued the state governors, all of them.
Yes.
And it's based on local government autonomy. They said, first and foremost, they want to ensure that monies that are meant for local government go to local government as prescribed by the law in their view. They also want the governors not to arbitrarily just remove democratically elected governors as enshrined in Section 7 of the Constitution. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my governor, the people's governor, is the chairman of the APC's Governors Forum. He stands with Mr. President. Look, we're going to have local government elections in September in Imo State. That is ongoing now, so all the preparatory issues are on. He believes in supporting local government. The funds that have come to the joint accounts of the state and local governments have been deployed expeditiously and transparently in Imo, in local rural roads construction, in healthcare, local healthcare, infrastructure provision, farm-to-market strategy. So, we don't have an issue with that. I think it's fully in support of it.
I guess my question straight, as Imo government, does the exact allocation coming from the federal accounts that goes to that joint account, do they exactly go straight to the local government as prescribed?
Well,
without being tampered, because the governors tamper with those monies, which is why this problem exists.
I can answer that for you. Our governor, in the 4 years plus of his administration, has worked very closely with the local government authorities to agree on projects that would impact our local environment.
I think you're not answering my question.
But that's what he's doing.
You're not answering my question.
And it's been effective.
My question is freedom to use their money the way they please, as enshrined by the law, not as the governor would direct.
But those funds come into the joint account of the state and local government. And the state, therefore, has oversight responsibility to ensure that those funds are deployed in the local government the way they should be, and that's what our governor has done.
The president doesn't supervise and look at over the head of governors on how they spend their money. So why should governors look over the local government chairman's head?
Yes.
On how they spend
but there's an important distinction here. The funds of the states do not come into a joint account with the federal government.
So that is the premise.
So I'm saying to you that the governor, and in the best interest of Imo State, is kept a strong eye in how local authorities deploy the funds that came in to ensure that they marry the strategic interests
of infrastructure
in Imo State.
Section 7 of the Constitution. It's a tier of government. It's not an appendage of an arm.
I'm not suggesting that. Yeah. I'm talking about ensuring effectiveness of the deployment of resources.
Let's take on another issue.
Yes.
The chairman of INEC has said, thank God there's an election coming and we're going to be there to cover that election.
Yes.
What we've seen is that when local government elections are organized, the ruling party takes all the seats. It's difficult to believe that that is the outcome, but that is what we see. And the INEC chairman has said, governors, stop coronating LG chairman, conduct elections. The Attorney General, Lateef Fagbemi, said, look, as a matter of fact, they should just scrap state election commissions and give it to INEC. What's your view?
Well, it's very straightforward. I can speak about Imo and what our governor is doing. He is encouraging a transparent election to local government offices. He is advertised it, taking a strong position to say that the people's will must be respected.
Okay.
He wants people who have great support in their local communities to participate and win those elections with the confidence of their people.
Right.
This is the issue, and that's what he should be doing, and that's what he's doing.
Let's go to other developmental issues. Now, the elections have been called.
Yes.
Tribunal has declared him a victor.
Yes.
Congratulations to him.
Yes.
However, it goes to maybe Supreme Court, but for now, he's a victor.
Yes.
What is he doing to reconcile?
This is the point, and that's really the news out there. Our governor, working with even the Elders Council of Imo State, continues to engage with our brothers who participated in the elections on the other party platforms to please come home. We want them to come home. We want them to engage. We want him to be part of the transformation of Imo State. He's built in his first 4 years the absolutely strong foundation for the economic transformation of Imo State. That's what our people want. We want our people to come home and join in this transformation process. So we're working on it.
All right,
and he's committed to doing that.
We're totally out of time, but in 30 seconds, is he reaching out to people like Amaewhule? Is he reaching out to the labor mind? Is he reaching out to Hedio, huh?
Absolutely. I can say to you that he's engaging even communities. Not only that, the Elders Council of Imo State, other interest groups, to join him in bringing harmony. We need peace and quiet. And he's also promoting Imo Charter of Equity, because he believes that rotating the governorship in Imo State amongst the respective zones will bring more peace and quiet and more harmony, so we can deal with politically contrived insecurity. We need more peace and quiet for Imo development.
You have raised another issue I will not want to follow you to.
Yes.
I've always told you, maybe you speak to the governor, let's have this conversation, expanded conversation. But we must thank you for always coming through to speak for Imo government. Former Chief Technical Advisor to the Imo State Governor, Mr. Jerry Chukwueke. Thank you as always for coming
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
All right, so let's move on now to all the stories. We can tell you that the federal government continues to insist that fuel subsidy has ended, contrary to claims in some quarters that it continues. And that confirmation is coming from the Minister of State for Petroleum, Eneke Lekpobri. He gave it earlier on our special program marking the first year of President Bola Tinubu's administration. Let's take a listen to him. All right, so let's move on to other issues. We thought we could get you the Honorable Minister's view on this particular one. But let's talk about another issue, but it borders on security as well. We're being joined in the program by the former DSS, Deputy Director of the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakri, joins us via Zoom. Mr. Amakri, thank you so much. I know you've been patiently waiting. I will say good morning from here, because I know it's morning right there. But let's see what we can make of this.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good to see you as always. Let's begin with the contention that happened in the House of Reps yesterday. For mercenaries or no mercenaries to support our fight against insurgency. What's your take?
Thank you for that question. You see, we cannot be depending on mercenaries when we have a standing army that will be spending a lot of money on, and in fact, if we go and bring mercenaries, it does not do well for the morale of our military. But if the military feels that they want to use mercenaries to do a quick job and then let them go immediately, then that's fine. But I don't think for a standing army and for the kind of money we're spending on them, I think they should be able to handle situations like this.
I like the fact that you mentioned that money, and we're going to take as much as possible. 2.2 trillion is what's been budgeted for the army. Let's just say over 2 trillion. And we've seen defense budget increase over the years. But when you look at the result, does it really justify the amounts that we're spending for defense?
Well, it does not, because, you see, we have pulled the military out of their traditional area of work to internal security. And, their place in internal security has not been very, very fruitful. I know that they can be invited to come when there is a problem, but they come in there and they are deployed all over almost the 36 states, and they are being weakened, because if we have any external aggression now, it will be difficult, very, very difficult for us to handle. So I think we should train the police. I think that's what we are supposed to do. We should reorder our priorities. Train the police to take care of their traditional responsibility of to serve and protect the people of Nigeria, while we allow the military to go back and train to kill the enemies of Nigeria.
That takes me to the article I read from Prime News that you granted. And it was quite, it will be disturbing to anybody who saw that data. 500,000 of our policemen we have about 400 to 500 to 500,000 policemen. And you said that 150,000 of that is protecting VIPs. That's about 30% deployed to a few individuals. And the president has promised that he will reform the police such that the NSCDC also will take care of VIPs so that the police can do their primary work. Why do you think that has not happened till now, 1 year down the line?
I don't know. I really don't know, because, that was what, when the president said it in the very, very first speech that he made, I was very happy, because then we are going to have, segmented, specialized groups in the police force, especially the anti-terrorist battalions, or what the Inspector General of Police is now calling the Special Intervention Squad. These people should be there to do specialized jobs. But when we allocate or deploy 1,500 or more, because anytime we have a political appointee, he feels that to show people that he is now a politician of value, he must have mopoles following him. I have a local government chairman. The other day I went to a local government and then we have about 7 mopoles following him around with guns. What does a local government chairman need that kind of protection for? All these policemen should be redeployed to go and do the job of protecting the society as a whole. If they are going to use an NSCDC, they should train them too, because you don't protection. Many people believe that when they see you with big, long guns and, then you are protected. No. I've been a bodyguard and I know that, in fact, our guns are not visible, but you can't even use the long guns that NSCDC is using. They have to be trained if you want to do that. But there are private security companies that are providing security guards, well-trained bodyguards, which anybody can use besides the authorized statutory people.
It's quite a thing. And you also talked about there has to be a societal approach to tackling insecurity. What do you mean?
You see, the way we are tackling this security now is like a stadium. Nigerians are all seated in the stadium, and the soldiers and the police and the other security agencies are fighting with the bandits or terrorists. And we are sitting around clapping our hands. Oh, it's 1-2. Oh, they've ambushed, they've killed 10 soldiers. We clap. The soldiers have decimated about 100 of them. We clap. That is not the way to pursue this case. Everybody must be, involved. And that's why they say all hands must be on deck. So when we say a society approach, all society approach, that means everybody will be involved. Everybody being involved does not mean that everybody go and carry a gun or something like that. War sometimes is not always fight with guns alone, especially in this kind of asymmetric war that we are fighting. Information, intelligence can be given from the people, outside, the military or the security forces, to the security forces to succeed in their given job.
And in concluding, just my last question, what do we do with the powers of the governors? What do I mean? They have their knee on the neck of local government chairmen. They can remove them at will sometimes. They are holding on to their funds. The federal government has taken them to court. When election comes, they take all the seats, most of the seats of the ruling party. They have their knee on the neck of the legislature. And now if we put state police in their hands, what do you see?
Well, it's really, really bad. I'm happy that the federal government have taken them to court because it is very, very undemocratic. We have 3 tiers of government, and those 3 tiers of government should do their functions. But when we now use the local government as appendages to the state government, I think it doesn't help. And that's the same way that we are going to have state police. Many people are against it because of this particular case, but state police will be created when we're establishing them.
Right.
The state House of Assembly should go ahead and write the laws to fit so that there is no interference from the political leadership.
Mr. Amakre, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to security, and thank you for always coming through, but we're totally out of time. Mr. Dennis Amakre is a former Deputy Director of the DSS, SSS, DSS, whichever is convenient for you. Is it Director or Deputy Director? So that we'll put that record straight once and for all.
I'm an assistant. I'm a retired assistant director.
Okay, retired. Okay, assistant director. Okay, thank you so much for coming on the program, Mr. Dennis Amakre. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.